Hey guys, this is Brittany. This is our fifth and final module for this course, and the prompt does ask us to go over our social justice projects. So just really quickly, I focused on race, really in the African American community, and I also focused on disability in broader terms. So my first law that I went over was for African American. I do work with the women's basketball team a little bit at Lewisburg College, or I did, with tutoring them and was just helping them through an assignment that they had and just some worries that they had and just perceptions that were put upon them. So I talked to two of the girls quite a bit in depth and just got their perception of what we were doing for the project. And really opened my eyes to not only how they are as females, but female athletes and being African American, all of the discrimination that is put upon them, all of the name calling that they go through, but all the strength that they have to really not really put up with that, but to be a better person from it. And not being an athlete and not being African American, I never really thought about those things. My second LAR, I guess LAR sounds a little bit weird, so LAR was focused on blindness for the disability. I did an interview for the Columns magazine. Hopefully it'll be out through Lewisburg College website in about a month or two. I think the actual hard copy comes out in about next month or so. But dealt with the Manhattan Project. A graduate of Lewisburg College actually worked in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. She has an amazing story, and I really hope I'm able to kind of share it with you guys, maybe next semester if we're in another class together. But she had an amazing story. She is now older and going through blindness. So working through that, I mean, she honestly is one of my new role models as a female. And just going through that disability, I mentioned several times that my eyesight is quite bad. Definitely not to that level, but it's progressively getting worse. Well, one day it might be at that level. And so to really realize that and to take into consideration how disabilities can evolve over time really did change that aspect for me. It also came into play with a temporary disability. One of the friends that I have in the doll community is temporarily using a wheelchair after an accident. And when she was in line to purchase a Frozen limited edition doll of Elsa, Anna, and Kristoff, she was actually accused of being a scalper, which basically means she would be in line to purchase the doll and turn right around and sell it, or just buy it with the intention of reselling for more money, since they are limited edition dolls of, I believe they're one of 5,000 for the two girls and one of 3,500 for the boys. Some people do purchase them, and when they run out, they resell them for a profit. And so just because she was in a wheelchair, they thought she was trying to get sympathy, I guess, to buy them from the Disney store so that they would be more sympathetic to her. Her daughter was there at the time and overheard their really insensitive comments. And just to know that, and when I talked to her, just going through the fact that her disability is temporary. She is going to get better. She's working to get better. And then more so, it's a perception of a disability with the wheelchair, or the perception of her trying to use the disability to her advantage. And so that was just really disheartening to how cruel some people can be, especially when it does come to disabilities of that type. Just really made me realize what someone may go through in higher education trying to do everything as a student if they're disabled, and maybe having to deal with that same oppression, or really any of the identities that we're dealing with. Being a student and having to deal with that oppression is just unimaginable, how much stress it must put on that individual. The fourth one that I focused on was African American again. Again, in the doll community, I really love taking advantage of that. But this individual identifies as African American and as a male doll collector. He is very active in the community, both with Disney Dolls and Ever After High, which I've talked about. I think it was last semester. But we just went over the discrimination that was in not only in purchasing the dolls. He's had quite a few off comments when he goes to purchase them. A lot of people saying, "Oh, your daughter will love this," and he kind of points out, "No, it's not for my daughter, it's for me." And then the really strange looks and reactions that come from that, of a hobby that is supposed to bring him a lot of joy, and instead at times brings him a lot of discrimination. I mean, even within his family, he talked about how his father was not so accepting, and how he really just felt like it wasn't becoming to not only a male, but he made a point of saying of a black male, to play with white girl dolls, as he put it. And we also talked about, in the community, just in general, how people felt about discrimination, diversity within dolls. A lot of the dolls are white, blonde, blue-eyed girls. And so we really talked about the fact that there's not a lot of diversity, and what should really be done. And I really think that's an important thing. I mean, I know they're just dolls. But it's really important from a young age for girls and boys, whoever does choose to buy them or look to them or really have them out there to be portrayed. I mean, that starts really the oppression points. I mean, if you just see white dolls there and you don't see someone as an ethnic minority representing you, I think that's a really powerful oppression. I mean, I think that it's a very big thing that we need to address from early on, so we can begin to really challenge the oppressions of gender, of ethnicity within higher education. So I think it's a very much so building thing, rather than something, and obviously we can do a lot of things now in higher education, but I think a lot of it needs to be overall change for everyone from young age and then work up. So really what the project has really shown me, I'm still working on the fifth one. I'll probably go back to disability to have something lined up for that. But it's really just showed me how much you really need to be open-minded to others, be open-minded to the ideas, like I said, within higher education, that we are dealing with a problem that has built up over time. And so there are people who do have prejudice, and we just need to be as patient as we can be, and to really speak to them as best we can. I mean, I really agree with the fourth one that I did with the male doll collector, wherein he said if anyone is ever really rude to him in those manners, he never tries to be rude back, because like he said, they may have a hobby that he doesn't agree with, and yet he would want to give them the same respect for that hobby as he wishes to have for doll collecting. And so I think it's really the same thing in any oppression, where even if it may be something that you don't really feel comfortable with, to at least be open-minded to the idea of listening, of educating yourself on becoming more informed and becoming a little bit more comfortable. And I think that's something that we should definitely spread to students, and hopefully we can definitely do through the elements that we learn in this class. So I can't wait to hear about all of your projects and how they're going. I know they're doing amazing things for you guys as well. And I can't wait to hear from you guys soon. Bye.